We know NoCo. From Town Square Media, this is Tuned Into NoCo. I'm Ashlee Meehleis. All right, welcome back to Tuned Into NoCo. Next up, we have the Rocky Mountain Raptor Program's Executive Director, Carin. Carin, how do you pronounce your last name?
Avila.
Avila.
Yes.
Awesome. That's very pretty. My last
Thank
name
you.
is a whole mess. It's all kinds of crazy when you try to pronounce it.
It's my Spanish heritage, and if you wanted to say it with the right accent, it would be Avila, but a lot of people struggle with that as well. So,
yeah. Well, it sounds great.
Thank you.
Well, it's awesome having you here. Before we jump into the gala you guys have coming up, tell us about what you guys do. What is the Rocky Mountain Raptor Program?
Well, thank you. Yeah, this is our 35th year of service. We've been caring for injured wildlife, in particular eagles, owls, falcons, hawks, birds of prey. We also provide education within our communities of northern Colorado as well as southern Wyoming about raptors, where they live, how they survive, and of course their place within the environment, and tying that all together with our role in protecting our environment. And we also have a small component of research added into our mission as well.
Wow. So you guys do a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
That's amazing.
Conservation education is certainly our important part of our mission, but saving the lives of raptors injured within our community or sick within our community is how we started way back originally in 1979 as a vet student effort over at CSU.
And I know this topic is on a lot of our listeners' minds with the soaring egg prices. So, Carin, how prevalent is this issue in northern Colorado?
Well, sadly this year a little bit more prevalent. We've seen the increase in avian influenza in the state. Really? And we've seen that also with our poultry farms, but raptors are very susceptible to the disease as well. But the biggest challenge that all wildlife faces is the human-wildlife conflict. And as a human population here in Colorado continues to grow, everyone loves our state, more people moving in left and right. We obviously have wildlife losing their foothold in the places and spaces where they live. Yeah. And so where humans and wildlife meet, conflict is bound to happen. Most of the injuries we see are unintentional injuries hit by car, most common thing. Yeah. But we do see occasional intentional injuries, which are always very difficult to see.
Wow.
Birds over the years, we've seen birds shot by people. We've seen birds poisoned, usually a secondary poisoning that happens, but we do see that. And then, of course, just development, loss of the areas, the trees, those things where they make their homes, the fields in which they hunt, those types of things.
Goodness. So if somebody does come across a bird that needs help, can they call you guys?
Yeah, if it's a raptor, definitely do shoot us a call out. Yeah. We have our office line, but we also have an emergency after-hours line that people can call. If it's not a raptor, we can direct people to the right place to talk to, Colorado Parks and Wildlife, or in Fort Collins, Northern Colorado Wildlife. And then also further south, we've got Greenwood Wildlife that deal with animals beyond raptors, but we strictly deal with just birds of prey.
Definitely. What would be a good phone number for you guys?
So our main line number is 970-484-7756, but then our after hours number is 970-222-0322.
Perfect. Thank you.
Of course.
Speaking of this bird flu that you were talking about, obviously it's on a lot of people's minds as egg prices
and chicken prices are going through the roof, and turkey soon to follow. And
So is there an end in sight?
Good question. So this virus is very hardy in the wintertime. It is usually killed by heat. So we're looking forward to summer when the temperatures really go up, and it's also spurned on by migration. So that was kind of how it showed up here in Colorado, is birds on migration, traveling, they're taking it, they're carrying the disease, and it's carried by waterfowl and shorebirds. Okay. But then obviously animals that eat those animals, such as predators like raptors, can contract the disease. Gotcha. Predominantly at this point in time, it is isolated to birds, although the Department of Health is very concerned about this disease changing and mutating to a point where it could potentially become a concern for swine or even for humans as well.
Wow,
so
really?
They've been tracking this disease for many years, and we first were aware of it back in 2015 here in Colorado, but it was just a glancing infection that we saw in places around the United States. Again, unfortunately, poultry farms. Yeah. But now this year we've had a full-blown year, and I know that Colorado Department of Health and Environment, as well as Colorado Parks and Wildlife, are advocating that if people do find wildlife that are down and not doing well, that they should contact Colorado Parks and Wildlife or an appropriate rehabilitation facility like ours to help out before they go and try and capture the bird or the animal themselves.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, that's super interesting. I know very little about it.
A lot of people don't, and it's certainly a learning point. We've had a lot of interviews over the last few months about the disease, and it's a challenging one. We haven't seen an emergent disease like this one since West Nile virus came into the state back in 2003.
Wow.
Big difference here, of course, is West Nile virus cannot be transferred bird to bird, where avian influenza can go from bird to bird.
Okay.
You have to have the mosquito present to transmit West Nile virus. So it's a new disease, just as the last few years have been challenging for humans in relation to a new disease. So we're learning a lot about it and hoping that as we continue to know more, we'll be able to combat this disease to help the avian population.
Yeah, for sure. In the meantime, hope for some warmer weather than what we're having.
Yeah, which we certainly are not getting right now.
No.
It was warmer up in Steamboat Springs this weekend than it was down here in Colorado or in Fort Collins.
My goodness. Yeah, it needs to warm up. All right, well, now let's talk about the gala you guys are having.
Yeah.
It's your 30th annual fundraising
is.
gala, and it's an auction. It's happening February 25th. What should people know?
Well, tickets are on sale right now. It's being hosted at the Hilton in Fort Collins, and we have around, 100 or so items on the auction block that are for silent items, anywhere from services to jewelry to, of course, the wonderful tasters of beer and things like that. And then we also are having a live auction too. The proceeds of this gala help to support our efforts and our mission of rehabilitation, education, and research. It's one of our largest fundraisers of the year, and we're thrilled to be able to be honoring a couple of folks with an annual award that we do at our gala called the Freedom Flight Award.
Okay.
We're honoring two of our longtime supporters and donors, Brian Byers and Becky Van Pelt, are one of our Freedom Flight Award winners. But this year we're also honoring Fort Collins Natural Areas, as they have just had their 30th anniversary of natural areas, doing a wonderful job of setting aside wild spaces for not only humans to recreate in, but for animals still to maintain their presence within our community.
Wow.
And so we're honoring them this year with the Freedom Flight Award too.
Now, you mentioned, obviously, this is a fundraiser. Do you guys have a certain amount you guys hope to hit this year?
Oh, ideally, yes. We would love to reach around $100,000 this year. That would be great. The last 2 years have been incredibly challenging for the gala, simply because of the COVID restrictions and challenges that came along with that. People not wanting to gather in large groups, but we all seem to be beyond that. We're aiming for about 400 people to come and enjoy a delicious dinner catered by the Hilton. Beer is being provided by Odell Brewing Company, which is wonderful. They've been an amazing supporter of ours for many years. Carin Avila is our auctioneer this year, and she's also a stand-up comedian and an alumnus of CSU, so she's really great to have come on board with us. And we're, of course, going to be having a lot of our educational ambassadors out. So these are the Raptors who are permanently disabled that stay with us to help us with the second prong of our mission. So you have a chance to meet eastern screech owls and golden eagles and red-tailed hawks. And so we will have ambassadors there that night for people to gaze upon their beauty and understand, of course, why they're such an important animal within our environment.
Yeah, and can anyone go?
Anyone is open. It's open to anyone to attend. Again, tickets are $95, which covers the cost of your meal as well as wine on the table and beer and the festivities of the night. Bidding is all online, and you can find out all this information about our event at rmrp.org, which is our website for Rocky Mountain Raptor program.
Awesome.
And we're super excited to be inviting community in this year again for our 30th year. It's hard to believe it's been 30 years that we've been doing this. So.
Wow. Well, you guys heard that. Head to rmrp.org. You can get your tickets. They got a lot of cool things happening, including an auction. I was actually looking at some of the auction items online, and you guys have some really neat painted ostrich eggs that are cool. Like there was one with an owl and I think a wolf on it. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we one of our specialty items is a thing that we call the egg extravaganza. Yeah, and so we ask community artists and artists actually from all over. We have a wonderful submitter that comes in from Las Vegas, and she sent in a couple of eggs, and she does this technique, and I'm sure some people have heard of it, the Ukrainian egg technique, and it's melted wax, and they're spectacular. And so artists will paint, design, multimedia, whatever it is that is their niche, to do ostrich eggs, emu eggs, rhea eggs, swan eggs, and some people do goose eggs. Our assistant director, Lisa Winta, actually has carved a nightlight that has an owl in it.
Wow.
Out of an ostrich egg.
No
for
way.
the auction. So that one's really great.
That's impressive.
Very, very talented artists contribute to this wonderful opportunity. I think we have close to 15 or maybe 20 eggs this year on the auction block. So that's always really great to see everyone's artistic talent.
For real. And are you guys still accepting auction items? Or?
We are for just a couple more days. Yeah. So you can can certainly go online and find out information about submission of things.
Perfect.
We have a couple of plane tickets from Frontier that were donated,
cool.
so people can get out of town. We've got different adventures, again, a weekend, I think, up in Steamboat, and then stay down at the Strader Hotel in southern Colorado, where you can go and ride the train down there, and kind of everything in between, too.
That sounds super fun. So I know you kind of touched on this, but why do you think this gala is so important for the birds in NoCo?
Well, as with all nonprofit organizations, raising funds for tackling the mission is certainly important. And this is one of our largest fundraisers of the year, usually reaching around 10% of our operating budgets to continue to do the work that we do. We care for 300 injured raptors a year. We provide 200 plus days of education within our community, whether that be in the K-12 school systems or out at the different festivals and things that we participate in, sharing the birds, sharing our knowledge, sharing our information about why these animals do such a wonderful job for us in helping to maintain balance in our environments, as well as indicate how our environment is doing for its health. As with all wild animals, they need the same basic things that we need to survive: food, water, air, shelter, and space. And if those things are being met, then a population will continue to do well.
Yeah, speaking of space, where are you guys located?
Our main facility is actually just up near Old Town Fort Collins.
Really? Okay.
We unfortunately at this point in time are not open to the public on a regular basis. We do provide behind the scenes tours if people are interested in scheduling those for a small fee to help to support our mission.
Yeah.
But we actually own 26 acres of land just northeast of Old Town, and our goal there is that we are wanting to work towards opening a nature center / zoological gardens centric about raptors and the Rocky Mountain habitats.
Oh, cool.
And we purchased this property many years ago, back when we left CSU in 2005, and encountered, a few hurdles to overcome, but finally looking down towards a capital campaign within the next few years to really start looking at a place that will be open to the public so that our community can come and understand on a larger scale what it is that we do and how we contribute to the environment, and a great place for kids to come that's not having to commute down to Denver to check out Denver Zoo, things like that.
Right.
And we have wonderful partnerships with CSU, both in the Professional Science Master's program as well as in the Wildlife Department over there too at Warner College of Natural Resources, and growing partnerships left and right with so many different great organizations and companies too. This year's sponsor for the auction is Hillside Construction. Pooter Pet and Feed is also a wonderful supporter of ours too. Arbor RX and a few other businesses have jumped in to help lend a hand towards our mission and our efforts.
Yeah, no, it's great. Are you guys in need of volunteers at all?
We do take volunteers, yes. Our education department is always looking for volunteers. We usually start 4 or 5 volunteers every other month to start helping with not just the care and well-being of our educational ambassadors, but of course also getting our education mission out into the community. We're accepting applications starting now actually for our rehabilitation internship program, which is a very time-intensive internship program, but very readily pursued by many people who want to be involved in wildlife rehabilitation. We also, of course, have one-time volunteer events. People can volunteer for the auction coming up and help to support us that way, as well as administrative volunteers and so many different areas. And we do have, during the summertime in particular, we have one-time events where people can come in and help do, landscaping, cleanup, and things like that to help out with the program, because there's always something to be done at RMRP.
For sure. Now, if somebody can't make the gala coming up, can they still donate to you guys?
You can donate, again, online, rmrp.org. You can actually bid on all of the silent items online. You do not have to be present for that.
Really? Okay, perfect.
And if people are interested in bidding on live auction items, even though they cannot attend, they can reach out to me and we can discuss, proxy bidding and how you can bid by not being in the room, so to speak, those types of options. But again, all of this information you can always find on our website, whether it be about volunteering or for the gala or how to donate, whether they be goods, like a lot of things we use around the facility, like bleach and toilet paper and paper towels and just the everyday items that we consume quite a bit, or even latex gloves to protect our staff as we're caring for the birds. Or if people would like to make financial donations, whether it be just a one-time donation, or if they'd like to join our 1987 Club, which are folks that want to donate once a month to our organization, or if people want to leave a legacy gift by leaving us in their will or estate, or even, stock donations, things of that nature.
Perfect.
All of that information can be found on our website, or just give me a call. I'm always happy to talk to our community and share our efforts and our mission and show people around as to what we do. Since we're not open to the public, I'd love to have the chance to share this. And so thank you for letting us come out and talk to your audience and share our mission.
Yeah, 100%. It's great having you here. For those listening, mark your calendars. February 25th, the Rocky Mountain Raptor program is holding the 30th Annual Fundraising Gala and Auction. It's going to be at the Fort Collins Hilton. It's going to start at 5 p.m. They're going to have some really neat auction items, and tickets are available at rmrp.org. Again, that's rmrp.org. You can also get more information on there on how to volunteer or donate. Now, I know you kind of touched on it earlier, but how did RMRP begin? What's the story?
Great question. Yeah. So originally in 1979, a band of vet students over at the university banded together to want to give back to wildlife that was coming in. They started to see a few injured birds come in. And from 1979 to 1987, that was strictly a vet student club. You had to be a member of the professional veterinary medicine program to participate. And from there, in 1987, the university said, well, you guys have grown. You've got more cases coming in, more birds. So we've got to have a little bit more oversight. So at that point in time, our founding executive director, who is the president of our board of directors now, Judy Sherpels, was hired. And she turned this small grassroots student club into a community effort where people from all different walks of life could come and participate in the mission of rehabilitation and education, as well as contributing knowledge to research.
RMRP also has another event coming up, and it's actually going to be here before the gala. It's happening on February 11th from 4 to 5:30 p.m. It's an eagle watch at Fossil Creek Reservoir. This sounds super fun. Do we have a lot of eagles in northern Colorado?
You know, during the winter time, especially around bodies of water like Fossil Creek Reservoir, we see a large influx of bald eagles come in from the north.
Wow.
And we do have golden eagles here year-round as well. And you tend to find golden eagles further away from water. They're more of a Great Plains or even a montane type of bird that likes the foothills. But bald eagles, we see them in higher numbers. We normally don't have waterways that freeze over. Today is the exception on most. But bald eagles will turn their talons away from fish during the winter and look towards small mammals, things like prairie dog or even the Canada goose. So you can see, I know around Fossil Creek Reservoir over the years, they've seen anywhere from just a couple of bald eagles to, I think, one year they saw, the bird count did 51 bald eagles in the trees around Fossil Creek Reservoir. So kind of where the water meets the land, bald eagles are bound to be found during the wintertime.
Seriously, how fun is that? You guys heard it. Head to Fossil Creek Reservoir. RMRP is doing an eagle watch. Should be a great time. They're going to have it from 4 to 5:30 p.m. that day. Sounds like it's also going to be super pretty, so definitely check it out. Going back here a little bit, how did you start doing what you're doing?
How did I start? Many years ago. I've actually been with the organization now for 24 years in a variety of positions. I started as a volunteer too. I wanted to give back. I always loved raptors ever since I was a little kid. And when I came up to school to go to CSU, I wanted to go to vet school. And of course, when you go to vet school or medical school, you have to donate a lot of your time and show that you're very dedicated and all of that type of thing. So I started volunteering. And as I worked through college and as I worked through my experiences with the Raptor program, I realized that vet school wasn't for me. And so I refocused. And I then, at graduation, instead of going to vet school, I actually accepted the position as the director of education for RMRP. And I taught about raptors and about our environment for 14 years and really enjoyed that so much. Not only did I get to work with the birds, which was amazing, still is amazing, but I really got to share my passion for nature, for wildlife with kids and adults too on top of that. I'm a Colorado native, and so I love our state. I love all of the things that it has to offer, from recreation, but also, of course, the beautiful animals and nature that we have here in Colorado too. So I'm dedicated to them most definitely.
Now, before I let you go, is there anything else you'd like our listeners to know about what you guys do, the gala coming up?
Gosh, really, I think, again, the work that we do is for the readers, the listeners, everyone out there, our citizens. Wildlife does not belong to anyone. It belongs to all of us. And so helping to make a difference, to care for these beautiful creatures is important. And raptors are a very important animal within our environment. And, it's so funny. You look at cultures, you look at businesses, you look at, just up the road here, there's the big brewing company that's out on I-25, and they have an eagle that they they have under their stanchion.
Yeah.
And if you look at our national seal, we stand under the bald eagle. So
Yeah.
these animals have a place within our cultures. And to say that, oh, well, their population decline has nothing to do with me, I think that's an irresponsible view. I think we all need to give back to our environment, no matter whether it's the raptors or whether it's oceanic animals, because water leads to ocean here from Colorado.
Yeah.
And so I think just that simple moment of looking up, turning off your computer, putting down your phone. You look up into the skies, you are going to see wildlife abundant here in Colorado. And being involved in this organization is just a small way to be able to give back to the beauty that we have that is Colorado.
Absolutely. For our listeners, if you are interested in giving back, the Rocky Mountain Raptor program is hosting its 30th Annual Fundraising Gala and Auction. It's happening at the Fort Collins Hilton on February 25th at 5 p.m. There's going to be auction items. It's going to be a great time. You can get tickets at rmrp.org. Before this event on February 11th, there's also going to be an Eagle Watch at Fossil Creek Reservoir. So mark your calendars for that. If you'd like to volunteer, donate, or get more information about the Rocky Mountain Raptor program, you can head to rmrp.org. You also can give them a call if you know of a bird in need at 970-484-7756. Or they do have an after hours number, which is
970-222-0322.
Thank you. All right. Well, Carin, thank you so much. This was great.
Oh, Ashlee, thanks for having me today. Really appreciate you taking the time to learn a little bit more about us.
Thanks for listening to What Matters in NoCo. I'm Ashlee Meehleis with Townsquare Media's Tuned Into NoCo. If you missed part of the show, you can find it on your Townsquare Media station app or website. If you or your organization would like to be considered for Tuned Into NoCo, send me an email at ashlee.meehleis@townsquaremedia.com. That's ASHLEE.MEEHLEIS@townsquaremedia.com.